Let's test ourselves on what we have learned. This is a case study of a facade painter that fell from suspended scaffolding. A worker was intending to paint the walls adjacent to a ledge. He tried to climb out onto some suspended scaffolding and onto the building ledge, but lost his footing and fell from the 9th floor of the building. The worker was not wearing any safety harness nor a safety belt. No records were found to show that the worker had attended any safety courses on scaffolding. The suspended scaffolding was last examined 2 years ago. The deceased landed here. The suspended scaffolding was repositioned here. The position of the suspended scaffolding at the time of the incident. Task 1. List what evidence to collect for identifying possible causes of the incident. Task 2. Use the fishbone diagram of 5 why to conduct a root cause analysis of the cause and effect of the incident and coordinate the investigation with the investigation team. Let's take a look at my answer. First, identify the immediate causes and underlying causes. Areas to study are unsafe conditions and practices, unsafe working conditions, such as hazards, unsafe working behaviors, such as human error. Also, look for the possible unsafe equipment, possible unsafe work methods, and possible unsafe working materials, or any other non-conformance to good safe work practices. Then, look for underlying or root causes, which are reasons not directly associated with the accident. Check if there is a lack of supervisory control or the lapse in control, lack of training or competency, inadequate dissemination of safety information, weakness in safety and health management system, or hazard unidentified in the risk assessment form. I used the 5 why analysis to analyze the root cause of these accidents. If you were using the 5 why analysis, what would your 5 why questions be? Now that we got to the root cause, how do we kick in the prevention actions? This is the last component of our course: corrective and preventive measures. The hierarchy of control is a sequence of options which offers you a number of ways to approach the hazard control process. This is a simple 5-part method and goes something like this. Eliminate the hazard, substitute the hazard, use engineering controls, use administrative controls, and use personal protective equipment. You can use any of these to control the situation at hand. Here is the list of options with their respective examples. Use this table to see the nature of each control measure. Then, decipher which is the best measure possible for your situation and implement it. The first of the best control measure is elimination. Eliminate the risk by removing the hazard through improved design or process. The second one is substitution. Substitute hazardous materials, equipment, processes, or substances with lesser risk. Some say that this is the inferior version of elimination, but sometimes this may be actually more apt for your incident. The third option is engineering controls. In this option, there are a number of things you can do to control the situation. Firstly, make structural changes to the work environment, systems, tools, and equipment to make them safer. Then, use mechanical aids or manual handling devices. Also, enclose or isolate the hazard through the use of guards or remote handling techniques. If possible, provide local or general exhaust ventilation. Next, there is the option of administrative controls. Establish appropriate administrative procedures such as policies, guidelines, standard operating procedures, registers, work permits, signages, job rotation, job timing, routine maintenance, and housekeeping. Provide training on hazards and correct work procedures. Ensure that you keep training registers and individual training records. Do not discard or lose these. The superiors should always supervise to make sure that there is compliance with set standards. The last part of the hierarchy, personal protective equipment, also known as PPE. In this option, you should provide correctly fitted and properly maintained personal protective equipment. Additionally, the appropriate training regarding how to use protective clothing should also be provided. Records are very crucial too. Without them, it's next to impossible to track what happened. All investigation, information, and recommendations should be recorded and retained at the site office. Another thing is that they should be compiled systematically and sequentially. This makes it easier to go back and retrieve the information when it is required. The records include, but is not limited to, things such as first information, which refers to informer, date, time, receiver, and so on. The record should also contain the first action taken and establishment of an accident investigation team. As part of the investigation, you will be conducting lots of interviews. Naturally, a record should contain records of all these interviews. Also, include recommendations for rectification, revisions, and the approval of those recommendations. Make sure to include all the relevant comments by clients and authorities. Also, keep a record of the implementation of recommendations, and finally, have a close-off of the incident that occurred.